The sun bleeds across Briar Ridge, splashing molten gold on Jacob's drought-scarred acres. Cornfields that once whispered with life now crack like shattered pottery under each breath of wind. Near the warped fence that has outlived 3 wars and a dozen droughts stands 93-year-old Eleanor Jacobs' frail frame. Diamond-hard eyes, spine straight as a rifle barrel. A dust plume rises beyond the property line. 5 riders halt, silhouettes against the dying light. Their leader, Jed Ruhr cowboy hat tilted, reputation dipped in gasoline, lets a slow viral grin spread across his face. "Tick-tock, Miss Jacobs," he drawls, voice oiled with mock courtesy. "Sell the dirt before it turns to dust." Eleanor doesn't blink. 6 generations built this soil. "If it dies, it will clutch my bones first." Wind tugs silver strands. From her braid like battle flags. Jed tips his hat, grin widening. He isn't bargaining, he's declaring conquest. Last week's barn blaze? His calling card. Vanished cattle? A warning shot. Today's ride by is the teaser trailer for a takeover. Twilight deepens. Eleanor's farmhouse groans in the wind, but the widow herself refuses to bend. Inside, lantern light flickers across chipped walls as she dials a rotary phone older than rock and roll. Each click hammers a coffin nail into her fear. At the other end, a gruff voice answers, "Yeah, Jack." Her whisper trembles. "It's Gran, I need you." Thousands of miles away in coastal Oregon, Jack Jacobs, ex-Navy SEAL, ex-everything freezes. Mid-stride. The battlefield he left behind still echoes in nightmares, yet his grandmother's plea slices deeper than shrapnel. Some missions don't pay, don't medal, but they matter more than air. Before dawn, a battered Dodge Ram tears down the dusty lane. Jack steps out, broad shoulders, sand-colored beard, eyes scanning like drones. The farmhouse sags but stands. On the porch waits Eleanor, breath ghosting in the chill. "You really came," she exhales. "You called," Jack answers. They survey ground zero, the barn, a half-charred skeleton reeking of smoke and sabotage. Fence lines hacked like open veins, boot prints prowling the perimeter. In the kitchen, Eleanor pours coffee with trembling hands, sliding a note across the table. "Sell or burn," Sharpie scrawl dripping menace. Jack's jaw locks. Not anymore. The ex-SEAL morphs the homestead into a fortress. Motion sensors bloom on fence posts. The rusted shotgun above the mantel is stripped, oiled, reborn. Windows gain plywood shields. Doors sprout steel brackets. Afghan War Tactics, Rural Edition. Eleanor watches, voice soft yet unbroken. "You were the shield even as a boy." Jack allows a flicker of a smile. "Some roles choose you at birth." Evening drapes the town in rust-colored neon as Jack strides into Grady's diner. Locals hush. Fear crowds the booths harder than the lunch rush. Waitress Mary Lou, once his babysitter, slides him pie and intel. Jed now owns half the county. The sheriff's pocket is full. Jack's gaze sweeps the room. Time they remembered whose dust they stand on. The bell clangs. Jed stalks in. 2 goons blocking light. "Look what the wind dragged in, Navy hero," he sneers. "Leave my grandmother alone," Jack says, voice low thunder. "She's not selling." Yet's grin snaps to a razor line. "Then pray hard." Accidents happen fast. Jack rises. Tower tall, diners hold breath, tension crackles. "Try me." Outside, night settles like a loaded trap. Trip wires, buried flares, loaded shells. Jack scripts the battlefield. Tomorrow's headline will not read "Farm Falls." It will scream. Farm fights back. Clouds swallow the moon. Beyond the barn, footsteps crunch, predators on the prowl. A tripwire snaps. Bang! Floodlights detonate, painting trespassers in harsh white. One thug crashes into a rake, another eats gravel. Jack moves, silent lightning, dropping the first man before a scream can bloom. Near the porch, Eleanor chambers a shell and fires sky high. Thunder rolls, raiders scatter. Yet's voice slithers from the trees. You can't guard her forever. Jack fires back, steel steady. Bet your life. Dawn rises stained with smoke. Eleanor's hands tremble around her mug. We can't. Fight alone. Jack kneels. Then we won't. Engines growl on the horizon. Jack grips his rifle, then lowers it. A convoy of pickups, tractors, rusty sedans rolls in like cavalry. Hank Daly, rancher with a limp and a 12-gauge, shouts, "We're done hiding." Neighbors unload. Veterans with worn rifles, teenagers with slingshots, grandmothers with first aid kits. Fear flips to fury, fury to unity. Jack assigns sectors, teaches hand signals, digs trenches. Hay bale walls rise. Floodlights bloom. Briar Ridge becomes a pop-up nation, flying a single flag, not 1 inch. Twilight bleeds again. Jed charges at the head of a torch-waving posse. He expects a widow and a vet. He finds an army. Shots crack, torches sail. Barricades burn but hold. From the rooftop, Jack conducts chaos. Flank right, suppress left, push hard. Yet's men buckle under the shock and awe of a town reborn. In the dirt, Jack and Jed collide, fists, mud, flame. Jed swings wild rage. Jack counters with trained precision. Blood paints both faces. But only one man's will turns iron. Sirens finally slice the night. The sheriff, dragged by public. Fury, deputies cuff Jed and his crew. Torches fizzle. Briar Ridge exhales. Morning arrives soft as redemption. Sunlight spills over repaired fences. Jack stands beside Eleanor on the porch while townsfolk stack lumber, herd cattle, laugh through. Bruises. You saved everything, she whispers. Jack shakes his head. We saved it. Tears glisten in her eyes. Will you stay? Jack inhales scorched earth, fresh coffee, hope. He's wandered deserts and seas, survived wars that never made. Headlines. None pulled this hard. Yeah, he says, conviction like bedrock. I'm done running. News cameras swarm. Hashtags detonate. Hashtag Briar Ridge strong. Hashtag stand your ground. Clips of farmers shoulder to shoulder surge across feeds, inspiring millions. Jack knows internet fame fades, but roots endure. Sometimes the fiercest battlefield isn't foreign sand. It's the soil that raised you. Victory isn't a medal. It's porch boards creaking under friends' boots, barns rebuilt, harvests saved. As the sun climbs higher, Jack grips the same fence post where Eleanor once stood. 6 generations watch from memory. He plants his boots, feels the land breathe, and promises aloud, anyone who wants this ridge will face all of us every time. The wind carries his vow across fields alive again. Somewhere, another bully sharpens plans, but Briar Ridge has discovered its superpower, community charged with courage, and courage, once lit, refuses to flicker out. The last stand became the first sunrise of a new legend built on stubborn love, fearless unity, and a pledge that no tyrant, no fire, no storm will ever uproot again.